Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Before we get started with this evening's ceremony, I'm going to ask you to take a minute to silence your cell phones and your watches and anything else that beeps or makes noises or sings or rings. I do want you to know that we are live streaming and video recording this evening, and it will be available to you afterwards. And additionally, we are taking photos throughout the procession, the conferring of diplomas, and the recessional. Please stay in your seats during these parts of the event so that we can get the best shot of your graduate. And also, please be mindful of your phones and cameras as you hold them up, and remember you might be blocking somebody's view behind you. We all want to see everyone, so thank you for your cooperation, and we'll get started. Before we begin celebrating this evening, the graduates have made a request that we all join them in a moment of silence to honor the 19 children and 2 educators who lost their lives this week in Uvalde, Texas. Thank you. Welcome, parents, family, friends. Welcome, faculty, staff, members of the Board of Trustees, and of course, welcome, graduates, to the commencement of the Post Oak Schools class of 2022. My name is Maura Joyce, and I have the pleasure of being the head of school here at Post Oak. We are here tonight to honor and celebrate the hard work and accomplishments of 21 outstanding individuals who have shared themselves with us. Some found their way here for high school. Some started in middle school and elementary, and a full third of them have been here for more than 15 years. Yeah. Before we get on with this program, which is truly all about you, we should take a moment to thank a few people who helped you along the way. In the auditorium tonight, we have the amazing teachers who guided you on your Post Oak journey. Not only did they teach you things, they made sure you were safe. They took you on trips. They made sure you were heard. They laughed at your jokes even when they weren't funny. They had confidence in you, and they worried about you. But on most occasions, like tonight, they were filled with pride. So let's take a moment to recognize them. If you here in the audience had the pleasure and the privilege of working with any of these graduates, would you kindly stand and be recognized? That was your cue to all clap really loudly. You'll have another chance. Even more help came from your parents, who have done immeasurable things for you. They got you here, and that path was filled with an infinite number of tiny lessons. They taught you how to be a person, and that included sleepless nights and midnight feedings and agonizing over your development, countless hours in the car, driving you to dance and soccer and band practice, and many moments of bravery and faith, whether they were letting go of your little hand when you walked into school for the first time, whether they were letting go to the back of the bicycle when you were learning how to ride, whether they were handing you the car keys, and for some of you next fall, moving you out of the house. It has not always been easy for them. Among these things they did for you was finding their way to Post Oak and saying, "This is the place." And I do not want you to underestimate the impact of that choice that your parents made on your behalf to support you with a Post Oak education. It was a bold move and one with great benefits, some which they see tonight, and others they won't see for another 10 or 20 years, but I promise it's coming. So will you join me, this is your cue, in showing appreciation for your parents? Each year as head of school, I stand up here and I send a group of young adults into the world. My job is to reflect on this and ask about each graduating class. Are they ready? Post Oak, your school, is based on the principles of Dr. Maria Montessori, who aimed for an education capable of saving humanity. I know that sounds like a big deal, and it is. These words of Maria Montessori's ring in our ears today as we look at you. Dr. Montessori was a scientist and an observer and saw the potential of the child as our most powerful solution for creating a better world. This was her goal for education. So I ask myself again, are you ready? Are you ready to save the world? Oh, I know you are. Is the world ready for you? Probably not. But here you come. So I, on this evening, get to be the first to congratulate you, postdoc class of 2022, because it's time for us to share you with the rest of the world. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I get to introduce the band of seniors and one Andy Walsh, who have a wonderful musical performance for you.
There's no stopping curiosity. That was awesome. Let's hear it for the band again. Thank you. All right. Hearing me over there? Okay. Make sure the mic's close enough to me. Greetings, Post Oak class of 2022. And greetings to the Post Oak faculty and to all the families and friends of the class of 2022. I'd like to start tonight by giving you all an insight into what your students have been doing in the time they've spent at Post Oak. And I'm going to do it by talking about something families normally don't hear much about. As most of you know, the high school students and faculty just spent the last 2 days together on our end-of-year retreat. It was a joy to resume this tradition, which goes back to the first year of the high school. During retreat, we play games together, swim, hike, sign yearbooks, eat good food together, and have a campfire. We generally relax from all our hard work, and in the evening, we reflect on the past year. Our reflections last several hours and occur individually and in small and large groups. We reflect by advisory, by grade, and in random groups. We reflect in writing and verbally and through skits. We analyze rose, thorns, buds, take time to compliment and thank one another, and we recall meaningful moments from the year. Everyone has numerous opportunities to speak, and everyone is heard. And what we come away with is an extraordinarily granular and multifaceted image of how education at Post Oak works in day-to-day practice. I'm going to try to explain to you how this high school works based on these reflections. First, you see the small but meaningful acts the students and adults in this community do every day. You hear about the deeds of caring and kindness, the criticism and the encouragement, the risks taken and the failures, the making adjustments, the trying again and the succeeding. Second, you see how these acts together constitute a web of strong relationships, friendships and mentorships, relationships of inspiration and support, relationships of competition, mutual respect, and striving. And finally, you can see how these relationships develop and deepen over time, creating profound connections within a community of people who are so diverse in terms of their ages and their backgrounds, their identities and beliefs, and their various talents and passions, which are all complementary. And so I want you to recognize that what your students have been engaged in for the past 4 years. They've not only been going to school, they've been building a school. This is how the Post Oak High School works. It's made and remade over and over by the students and the faculty who make it happen every day, and by you families who support your students. This is also your school that you built. So it's a fair question to ask. What is the outcome of this particular approach to education? How can we take a measure of its success? To do that, we only have to take a look at you, the graduating class of 2022. And although we know you, and we know your accomplishments, and in any case, it would take way too long to go through those accomplishments here, but I would like to use another high school tradition as a way to take measure of our success. Each year in a special community meeting, the seniors are each invited to share a moment of wisdom with the lower classmen. I would like to share just a sample of this senior wisdom with you all, and I'll be paraphrasing. Henry Quillen says that what matters when you graduate from high school is what you know. So focus on pursuing your interests through internships. And you can also use internships to figure out what you're not interested in. Sutton Walsh urges us to see life through a strategic lens, and don't let your failures get you down. Life will always happen the way it was supposed to happen, and anything can turn around for you. Asher Foreman advises to ask all your questions, even the stupid ones. Don't sit there making excuses. Get started making a resume now. Delete TikTok, find a job, eat healthy, and have a firm handshake. Andreas Cantu suggests you make friendships with your teachers. You can get a lot of great stories that way. And think about how you treat one another. You should treat one another with love and respect. Arwa Rasul suggests that you take one step at a time and don't stress out, while Luke Kirchner says the pressure you feel depends on the pressure you put on yourself. So be chill and relaxed. Sadette Rice says, don't tie yourself down to the traditional path or define yourself too narrowly. Be open to change and remember that nothing lasts forever. The bad times don't last. Live for the happy moments in between. Finally, Fabricio Guerra urges us not to give in to cynicism and judgy pettiness. If that's your main focus, you won't progress. Realize there's more to the world, and it all depends on how you choose to proceed. I don't know about you, but I think that's some pretty sound advice, not only for teenagers, but for adults as well. And I wish more folks around our country and the world would live by that advice. But now it's your chance, class of 2022, to go out in the world and make it better by living the wisdom you've gained and being the excellent people you are. And so today, as a token of our gratitude for the contributions you've made to this school and the contributions you will make to the world, we present to you, along with your diploma, the gift of a pen. This gift is another Post Oak tradition. It is both a practical and a symbolic gift. Practically, we hope the pen will come in handy as you commence with the next phase of your life, for writing out a business plan, composing a speech, drawing up a film storyboard, or jotting down the lyrics you've just thought up. Symbolically, we hope that the pen will remind you that you're a Montessori student. Montessori wrote that, quote, "We build ourselves through the work of our hands," unquote. We hope that this pen will serve as a reminder and an inspiration in your college career and beyond to continue the crucial work of building yourselves through the good that you do. The world is depending on you. Thank you for listening. And now I'd like to invite Allison Wong, Board of Trustees Chair, to the podium.
Oh, he's tall. Hi, how are y'all? On behalf of the Board of Trustees, congratulations to the Post Oak High School class of 2022. We are proud of you and we thank you for the contributions that you've made to our community. The past several years have certainly presented us all an opportunity for self-reflection, an opportunity to take stock of who we are and how we wish to move through the world. This is true not only of individuals, but also of communities, including the Post Oak School. And as stewards of the school's mission, the Board of Trustees this year took the opportunity to reflect and to look forward, specifically by undertaking to re-examine and refresh our mission statements. What even is a mission statement? And what does it accomplish? Well, it tells the world who we are, the reason for our existence. A mission describes an organization's purpose and its overall intention. So when we set out to refresh our mission, we began by asking ourselves, what sets us apart? Why are we, the Post Oak School, different, I'll say it, better, than any other independent school? If you're here, it seems really obvious. We're us, and we're like amazing, right? And that musical performance just proves that out. But how do you convey that to people who aren't here? Well, that's not as easy as it sounds, because words are hard. And many of the words that describe us, that we live out every day here at the Post Oak School, are now suddenly used by others to describe themselves too. Whole child? Anyone? How dare they? Unfortunately, I was informed that, hey, that's our thing, or you say whole child, but we actually do it, is not an appropriate mission statement. Which is a bummer because we could have been done so fast, but we kept going. A mission is descriptive, and it's also prescriptive. It represents who you are and also who you want to be. And since this mission represents our entire community, many members of our community were involved in these discussions, whether they realized it or not. Faculty, staff, and admin were directly involved, but so were students and parents and alumni. So here is our new mission, and I hope that you like it. The Post Oak School is a diverse and welcoming Montessori community that honors and guides lifelong learners as they create their own bold pathways in leading purposeful lives. One thing I've learned about a mission is that it's a living document. Because it's prescriptive, it acts as a North Star, shaping your path by influencing the decisions that you make, both big and small. For instance, if a school has chosen as its mission college admissions or exacting standards, which is a real thing from a real school's mission, that school will make different choices about its community and its culture than will a school that prioritizes creating your own bold pathways and purposeful lives. A school that values bold pathways will make choices that lean into independence, courage, grit, and creativity. A school that values purposeful lives will lean into introspection, empathy, and action. As a society, we sorely need those things right now. Each of the words in this mission was chosen with care. The first part, diverse and welcoming Montessori community, that's about the community. Honoring and guiding, that is about our incomparable faculty about whom we can never say enough good things. We have to say all the good things about them. But the last bit, that's about you. When we chose those words, we had you in mind. And I'm not just talking about the bold pathways part or the meaningful lives part, but the create their own part as well. Because we know that you are independent and curious, and you choose to be engaged. You're compassionate and collaborative. You build meaningful relationships. You value diversity. You advocate for justice and equity. And you understand and embrace your capacity and your ability to make an impact. You're ready to create your own bold pathways. We trust you to do this. Not only do we trust you to do this, we're counting on you to do this. We really need this right now. Does this mean that you have to know your own pathway at this moment? No, absolutely not. Of course not. It just means that you'll set your own intentions. You will decide how you want to move through the world, and I hope that you will show up for yourselves, being present every day. And that's really how you live out a mission. It's not a proclamation that you make from a mountaintop. It's about the little decisions that you make every day, like how you respond when someone says or does something you don't agree with. Do you try to change their mind? Or are you open to changing your mind? Do you speak out, or do you show forbearance? Or how do you respond when you're given a new opportunity that's outside of your path? Do you embrace it for the experience, or do you decline because it doesn't serve your goals? There are no wrong answers to many of these questions, but when added together, your answers reveal a pathway. And if you've set an intention added together, your decisions reveal a mission. So, this momentous occasion, this important juncture in your lives, it offers you an opportunity to think about your own personal mission. What sets you apart? How do you want to show up in the world? And if your mission doesn't look the way someone else expected it to look, that's okay, because it's your bold pathway, not theirs. And we look forward to following you on your journey. Now it's my honor and pleasure to introduce to our commencement speaker, someone who lives out our Post Oak mission every day, Dr. Jamie Lee. Hold on, second page. Jamie earned an MA and a PhD in sociology from the University of Texas at Austin. Beyond her academic preparation, Jamie has leadership experience in both business and social action. For 5 years, she was the president of a successful software company and, as a graduate student, founded a nonprofit organization to help Central American women by providing technological training. Her travel experience includes 18 countries on 4 continents. She's fluent in Spanish, and she's a mother, and she's amazing. Over the last 10 years, Dr. Lee has generously shared her time and talent with us, having served us most recently as the high school dean of students. Her passion, dedication, and spirit are woven into the very fabric of the high school, and for that we are very grateful. It's my honor to present to you Dr. Jamie Lee.
Well, good evening, graduates, friends, families, and colleagues. Thank you for the opportunity to be with you on this momentous occasion. It is an incredible honor to stand here this evening for the graduation of Post Oak's class of 2022. For many of you, I was with you 4 years ago when you began your high school journey, and I've known many of you for much longer. And while I feel proud and humbled to be your speaker tonight, I must admit that I initially had some reservations and concerns about being your commencement speaker. Namely, how could I possibly offer you insight and thoughts that are near the level of many extremely successful speakers that we hear about each year? You know, Taylor Swift, Simone Biles. But putting my apprehension aside, I actually think that I have a great deal to share with you, though it just took me a bit of time to figure out why. Let me begin. An incredibly famous speaker probably has significantly less in common with any of you than I do. I'm willing to guess, and honestly hope, that your future experiences and opportunities are closer to mine than your typical celebrity personality. My experiences have not been perfect, but they are real. And I hope that tonight I can share with you some of the most important insights that I've been able to recently see for the very first time. If you had asked me to be the speaker for this event 2 years ago, the theme would have been entirely different. So let's start there. 2 years ago, I was incredibly involved with my career at Post Oak, working in various positions at the high school and spending the remainder of my energy volunteering in the Houston community, caring for my growing daughters, and always working with a focus on the future. I had plans, and I had plans for those plans. If you asked me what was on my mind, I was overwhelmed with the sheer magnitude on my plate at any given instant. I wanted it all, in the present, the past, and future. I wanted to be the best teacher, the best employee, the best mother, the best wife, and to plan my future so the best was next to come. Back in 1999, I started as a graduate student at UT in the Department of Sociology. As a junior graduate student, I was intent on being worthy of the scholarship that I had received. This meant that I was to focus exclusively on spending time in the field, observing and analyzing. However, there was something hollow to this goal due to the intensity and disengagement of the expectations. This is not a unique situation to find for a young student, and it's not specific to the situation. During many times in my life, I have found myself controlled by the expectations of the future, often letting both my hopes and fears confine me on a narrow path forward. But students, while you are likely starting off on a path with a heavy load of expectations set by your families, your colleges, your degrees, your future career plans, I urge you to not let the future control you. It is more than okay to make choices that allow you to feel alive, accomplished, and absorbed in the moment. There is nothing wrong with planning or striving for something better. However, after years of feelings of conflict driven by future expectations, I realized I do not need to let these motivations exert exclusive control over my mindset. It did not happen overnight, but the change began with a phone call from my doctor when she revealed that I had cancer and that I needed to prepare for something that I never had in any of my plans. I hope that none of you ever hear similar words. For me, the recovery process is taking much longer than I had hoped, and during the recovery, I realized that my plans and plans for those plans have shifted. The goals for the future have not necessarily faded, but they come second to something more important: self-care, self-interest, and self-love. I would like to stress to each of you to choose to live your life today and to do it for yourself. I know all of this sounds a bit strange today of all days, while many of you sit at the precipice of a big change as you plan to go away to college next year, which by nature is driven by the idea that you are prepping for the future. I've been reflecting on some of the most formative experiences in my life, and I find that the best experiences are the ones that I choose to focus on because they made me feel alive, accomplished, and absorbed in the moment. I'm going to share a story with you of a time when I felt really absorbed in the moment, a split decision, an act which in some way may have changed my educational trajectory, but certainly changed me as a person. So I'm taking you way back, years ago, when I was an undergraduate at Bucknell University. The first semester of my junior year, I studied in London at Anti-Slavery International, researching issues of child labor. For my second semester, I traveled to Nicaragua on a program which focused on independent study. The topic I was interested in investigating was child labor in the informal sector. On one of the first days in country, I met with Diego, the head of a local nonprofit who I asked to be my mentor. At the end of our meeting, he offered to drive me back to my host family's home. At a busy stoplight, during rush hour in Managua, we came to a stop. My mentor looked at me and said, "If you're really interested in understanding child labor, you would just get out of the car and talk to them," pointing to a dozen or so kids between 5 and 15 that were working at the stoplight by washing windshields or selling bags of water. So I glanced over at a young girl, about 10 or so, who started singing to us, looking for spare change in return. I made eye contact and got out of the stop vehicle, just as the light was going to turn green. I took Diego's advice. The girl's name was Carla, and she spent each day singing to stopped cars, hoping to make money to feed her family. Over the course of the next few months, I became extremely close to Carla, who introduced me to other street children, her single mother and siblings, and then eventually the entire neighborhood. I became an integral part of the community, guiding and helping where I could. I had an insider's understanding of the complexity of the life of the poor in this barrio. Watching Carla and so many others that had no opportunity for an education, who slept on a dirt floor and faced so many hardships, forever changed me. I was never the same after meeting that little girl. Being able to live in the moment, to be absorbed and focused, allowed me to take a step back and see a whole new world. Fast forward 20 or so years, I sat on a dock in Ometepe, Nicaragua. This time, I was accompanied by 12 Post Oak students and Mr. Grisby. After spending a week and a half volunteering in Nicaragua at a health clinic and school, working alongside people who survive on less than $2 a day, the students were sitting with a heavy heart and mind. On this dock, under the biggest, brightest moon, we closed out the evening with our nightly seminar. But this night was different. On this night, the students were dynamic, unsettled, even a little confused, challenging the very questions about inequality and poverty that we as educators still grappled with. This is why post-oak, we create these experiences for our students to be active participants in their learning and understanding of the world. I felt very accomplished knowing that indeed this 8-term experience in Nicaragua had truly had an impact on these students. Sitting on the dock on an island in the middle of Lake Nicaragua, I was present, fully engaged, holding on to every word the students were saying, knowing this was the beginning and not the end. I knew I was exactly where I was supposed to be. So graduates, align your life and your decisions for more moments where you are absorbed in the moment, where you are not just living for tomorrow or what might come next. Be active in making the present count. Being passive is not good enough. Relish in your own accomplishments and be proud of who you are right here, right now. We're living in a time where there's such high expectations set for us by family and friends, school, the media. We often hide behind our own reality by posting on social media through filters that mask our true selves. Amidst all the external pressures to conform, don't be afraid, ashamed, or unabashed in your desire to be who you are. We finally reached a point in our national dialogue where it's acceptable to talk about mental health and to understand that it's okay not to be okay. And when you're not okay, phone a friend, call home, or find your nearest counselor. When you see someone else struggling, find them the professional help that they need. Be in the present, don't sit back, and please act and guide them towards help. There have been times in my own cancer recovery that I felt ashamed. I felt like I've let people down. I've since realized that it's okay to focus on myself. Throughout this journey, I've learned that there is no shame in doing things to support your whole person. I think Maria Montessori may agree with this. It was she who wrote about the importance of independence in the child. As teachers, it's important to unleash the ability of the child by allowing her to do it herself. Montessori said, "Teach me how to help myself." I would go as far as to say, if she was writing more philosophically about our spirit, our soul, or what makes the fabric of who we are today, Montessori might continue to say, "Teach me how to be myself." The Post-Oak School has done just that. The Post-Oak School has honored you as an individual and allowed you to grow into your own. You have had an incredible set of opportunities to learn who you are over the arc of your adolescence. You've been engaging through opportunities in the museum district, hands-on lab experiments, rich cultural events, J&A terms, through the words and wisdoms of some incredible speakers who've been in your classrooms. You have been so fortunate to receive this incredible Post-Oak education. As Maria Montessori says, you are prepared not just for independence, but for life. But students, we are all working towards our own personal mastery. Your growth is never complete. Each day, you have an opportunity to wake up, make a fresh start to the day, right a wrong, reach out to a friend, call your mama. Live life as it is happening by you, not to you. Be here now. As you move beyond Post-Oak, remember that you always have a place here. You are forever grounded and connected to its beautiful history, entwined with Post-Oak's philosophy of caring, peace, and lifelong learning. Know you are always welcome back. Students of the class of 2022, stand with conviction, be courageous, create your own destiny, live in this moment. Wishing you all the best of luck, health, and happiness. Congratulations.
Bye, seniors. We love you.
All right, so I have the pleasure of continuing the Post Oak tradition of presenting the senior awards for the class of 2022. To Gabe Avacher, I have the George Keenan Award for Insight into Geopolitics. Andreas Cantu receives a Community Spirit Award. And to Jordan Chase, the Frank Geary Award for Architectural Thinking. To Asher Foreman, the Adam Smith Award for Economic Insight. To Kinsey Frazier, we have the Environmentalism Award. For Josephine Gregg, we have the Renaissance Woman Award. For Fabricio Guerra, we have the Global Citizen Award. For Tyler Holland, we have the Out of the Box Thinking Award. For Luke Kirchner, we have the Musical Spirit Award. For Connor Kizik, we have the Leonard Euler Award for Excellence in Mathematics. To Frederica Luke, we have the Open Heart Award for Kindness. To Leila Lopez Marks, she receives the True Grit Award. For Adrian Perez, we have the Award for Entrepreneurship. And for Blake Peterson, we have the Award for Perseverance and Personal Growth. Henry Quillen receives the Satoshi Nakamoto Award for Disruptive Innovation. R. Rasul receives the Political Activism Award. And for Sadette Rice, she receives the Creative Spirit Award. And for Juan Carlos Reyes, he receives the Garage Startup Award for excellence in computer science. And for Reagan Sanders, she receives the Animal Husbandry Award. And for Sutton Walsh, she receives the Critical Thinking Award. And last but not least, we have Emery Ying receiving the Magellan Award for Global Exploration. Congratulations, seniors.
I'd like to introduce our speaker, a graduate speaker to the stage, Andreas Cantu.
Like the rest of my senior class, I'm eager for this to end, so I won't keep you long. But before I begin, I'd like to acknowledge Mr. Dorsey, who after I was voted to speak tonight, said to our class, "You made a good choice. Not the best choice, but a good choice." Hopefully, Mr. Dorsey, when I finish tonight, your opinion has changed for the better. So here we are. It's hard to believe that 16 years ago, I started my life-changing journey at Post Oak as a 14-month-old, and through that time, I've welcomed each senior who sits on this stage with me tonight. To say Post Oak has been a typical educational experience is far from the truth. Yet, there are few words I can think of that would adequately describe the experiences we've had here. I like to think the closest anyone ever came to appropriately describing this school was Miss Allison Wong, who stood on this stage 3 years ago as she gave the commencement speech to the class of 2019. I sat in the audience and listened as she used the word special to describe this school. We go to a special school, a very special school. As time went by, I began using that word with a twinge of sarcasm, much to my mother's dismay, because I had yet to understand exactly what made this school so special. It wasn't until I was writing this speech that I began reflecting on the past 16 years in a way I have never done so before. So with that being said, here is my reflection. For the past 16 years, I've been an engaged participant at Post Oak, but I've also been an observer, watching how things work and how our school has changed. New faculty, new friends, new buildings, through floods, and yes, through a pandemic, I've seen it all. As students, we all observe. It's the first part of learning. Maybe some of us choose to keenly observe math or science, and maybe some of us choose to observe how to make our teacher so mad she puts us at a table by ourselves for the next few months. I'm sorry, Miss Nickerson. But regardless, we took it all in and made it a part of ourselves, learning from what we watched. And through that observation, we grew mentally, physically, and spiritually. With each milestone we completed, whether it was dominating a Spanish seminar, trust me, those are way harder than it sounds, completing a final project, or pulling your first all-nighter to complete said final project, there was always another challenge that followed. But milestones aren't achieved alone. By observing the lessons given to us by our outstanding teachers and coaches, from YCC and primary all the way to high school, we have learned what is required for us to succeed far beyond academics. It is one thing to simply teach, but it is another thing entirely to teach with passion. And it is because of this passion, shown by our Post Oak teachers, that our class has done so well and will continue to do well beyond our Post Oak career. Our education, however, is not confined to the classroom. I now direct your attention to the parents in the audience. We have watched these remarkable individuals go through one of the most demanding challenges known to man, raising a kid in today's world. To say that we understand what you all have gone through is a complete lie. But when we say we are grateful for what you have gone through, it couldn't be more true. For 17 years, we watched you put your lives on hold and do everything in your power to help us succeed. Even in moments when we maybe didn't deserve your help, you continued to love and care for us despite our actions. And that is a lesson that can only be taught by parents and only observed by their children. So to our teachers and parents, thank you. You've done some incredible work. Yeah, we can read, we can write, we can think, we can drive, we can use the stove, kind of. But more than that, we know how to deal with adversity. Whether it was Zoom lessons, COVID outbreaks, or feeling disconnected, everything you have done for us is shown in our ability to overcome challenges on our own. And that is the greatest lesson you could have ever taught us. To my fellow seniors, wow, we really did it. At Tuesday Assembly, we each held a candle representing the idea that only together we can change the world. Once we cross this stage tonight, our time to change the world begins. I know you are all ready to take on the next challenge, to learn, to work, to love, and to care for all the people around you. And most importantly, I know you're ready to make some noise, whether or not the rest of the world is ready for it. Tonight, however, it seems that the roles I've mentioned are reversing. Whether all of you in the audience realize it or not, it is now time for you to start observing. Observe how Henry Quillen will change the world of cryptocurrencies. Observe how Gabriel Averture will find his way on the presidential ballot. Or observe how Sutton Walsh will rule the world. Everyone on this stage has a true gift to give to this world. You see, that is what makes this school so special. The students who leave Post-Oak are well-equipped individuals, ready for life. This school knows how to bring out the best in students, even if the students don't realize it. It is something that very few schools can do, and is something that Post-Oak has mastered. Ladies and gentlemen, I am deeply honored and proud to be a part of the Post-Oak class of 2022. Thank you.
Gabriel Averture. Andreas Roberto Cantu. Jordan Saunders Asawayel Chase. Asher Marks Foreman. Kenzie Merriman Frazier. Josephine Grace Gregg. Fabricio Palino Guerra. Tyler Warren Holland. Luke Andrew Kirchner. Connor Anthony Kissick. Layla Lopez Marks. Frederica Faye Luke. Adrian Perez. Blake Jason Peterson. Henry McDaniel Quillen. Arwa Wasim Rasul. Juan Carlos Reyes Sotomayor. Ruth Sidette Rice. Reagan Elizabeth Sanders. Sutton Monique Walsh. Emery Kuo Ying.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stay seated until the graduates have recessed. I present to you the post-oak class of 2022.